The latest top 100 prospect list is out, and there's only two Cubs in the top 100. And when you really want to get down to it, it's not a good sign because the two guys that are in there aren't the guys you want on the list, and I'm going to tell you why. The Cubs have an issue. Hey, like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit that QR code right there. That's our AveD home. That's Mick Nation. Let's get this party started. What do you say, everybody? Mick Nation right here on the Cubs baseball channel. And this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Cubs top 25, top 100 prospects. And I'm just going to tell you right now, you might not want to hear this, but the farm system is as weak as it is as I can remember. And I've been around this thing for a long time. I mean, I want to say at least 20 years. The fact that there's only two top 100 prospects tells you got an issue. But when you start looking at who the two guys are, it makes that issue a lot worse, right? So right now, the Cubs have two guys listed as top 100 prospects. And I'm like, okay, right off the bat, I'm like, okay, that's not a good thing. Because when you have a really good farm system, I mean, you're talking normally 4 or 5 guys, right? But for the Cubs to only have two guys listed in that top 100, and one of them being Moises Ballesteros, who comes in at number 36 on the pipeline list, and then Jackson Wiggins at number 78. That is not what you want. All right, so let me tell you why. First off, I like Ballesteros. Last year, got to the big leagues, had 130 at-bats, was mostly a designated hitter. He hit 298. He had a couple home runs and 11 batted in. I thought he hung in there well. In Iowa, he hit 316. He had 13 home runs and 76 batted in as a full-time player. Nothing wrong with that. And then you got Jackson Wiggins. And the Cubs couldn't figure out, like, what to do with Wiggins, right? Like, they just kept slowing him down and slowing him down. He ended up at 3-6 with a 4.36 ERA. But he had 71 strikeouts, 36 walks, and 59 innings. I mean, like, when he was pitching, he was really good. But here's the issue. Moises Ballesteros is listed as a catcher, but he can't catch, at least not yet. So he doesn't have a position. He's a DH. So he can hit, but you got to put him at hitter. You can't put him at, catcher. You can't put him at first base. He's 5'8". The only position that the guy can play is catcher. He's got to be able to catch. And the Cubs are so unconfident in him as a catcher, we never saw it happen. Even when they needed his bat, they didn't let him catch. And then Jackson Wiggins is a tremendous talent with the strikeouts, but he's hurt all the time. And you wonder if he's ever going to be healthy enough to be the star player that he could potentially be, right? 97 strikeouts, 78 innings, pitched at Arkansas in college. I love the guy. I mean, both of them. I mean, I think that they have extremely gifted abilities. For Ballesteros, it's soft hands, it's making contact, it's driving the ball, and then his ability to even hit for power. And then for Wiggins, it's like, hey, this guy can strike out anyone. When he throws strikes, can he stay healthy? But there's no one on that list past that. And that is really concerned. Jefferson Rojas is their third highest rated prospect. So it goes Ballesteros and Wiggins. I saw Rojas last year absolutely overmatched in Double-A. Like, had no chance. He was really one of the worst everyday players that was on any of the teams. And if he wasn't 20 years old and pushed there, he wouldn't be playing. Kevin Alcantara, I've talked about him. He's the fourth best prospect for the Cubs. He's a 23-year-old, 6'6", 190. I think he's got great ability, but as an everyday guy, not a big fan of him. He's got to get a lot more serious about playing baseball for a living. Like he's just got to. He just doesn't seem like a pro to me. I don't know anything about Ethan Conrad. He's the Cubs' 5th best prospect drafted last year. Jonathan Long's their 6th guy. Had a huge year as 24-year-old in AAA. Scouts don't like what he does, even though he puts up great numbers. They don't like that. Pedro Ramirez is their number 7 guy, 21 years old, spent most of the time in AA at third and second base. Really good baseball player. Scouts don't like him either. Brandon Birdsell is their 8th guy, right-handed pitcher, was injured. He's a really good player. James Triantos is number 9. Great bat the ball ability, but took a big step back in AAA. He's only 22 years old. Maybe the Cubs moved him up too fast. And then Kane Kepley was drafted last year. We don't know much about him. And you start getting past that list, and it's the same thing, right? But when you only have 2 top 100 prospects, that gives you an idea that you got big issues. So for the Cubs, like, you traded Cam Smith, and he would have been your number 1 or number 2 prospect. And you got Kyle Tucker for 1 year. And then you made the trade for Owen Casey. And guess what? Owen Casey was your best farm guy. And you got, Edward Cabrera. You better hope Edward Cabrera steps up, because the problem you have now is that Owen Casey's going to the Marlins. He's going to be a really good player. This isn't Matt Mervis. You're not sending him out of town because you don't have a spot. This is a young prospect that could get you could get your whole front office fired if he goes there and becomes the player that he could potentially be. And I'm talking about 30 home runs, 100 and some runs batted in. So you better hope Edward Cabrera steps up. You made that you made that move. Now you got to live with it. But for the rest of the Cubs farm system, this is the weakest farm system that the Cubs have had since Jim Hendry was the GM. This was back when the Tribune wouldn't pay for like the top prospects. You couldn't draft them. So this is an issue for the Cubs. Not to say that they're not going to circle the wagons and some of these guys aren't going to turn into great players, but I'm just telling you. 2 top 100 prospects. One's a pitcher that can't get healthy, and another guy's a catcher that can't find a position because he can't catch. That's an issue. Okay? That's just the bottom line. Like, there's no sure things here. So you got a DH and a guy that really, if he stays healthy, could be an ace, but you're hoping that maybe you can get him in the bullpen and he's healthy enough to just give you some innings. And then nothing past that? Look, there's still the potential for the Cubs to make a trade. And maybe they trade Matt Shaw and they replenish this farm system. They need it. This is as weak as I can remember. And I've been here 20 years. Right? Like, that's the fact. And all these other trades that they've made at the deadline, Isaac Paredes, last year when they made deals at the deadline, Mike Soroka, all these other trades, you're giving up the depth that you have in your minor league system. The problem is that the guys that they have, the next wave guys, aren't getting the love that puts them in the top 100 prospects. And does that always matter? No. But when the Cubs built a great farm system, they had, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Addison Russell, Anthony Rizzo, all those guys were like top 20 prospects. So does that always mean that it's the be-all, end-all? No, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why these guys are listed that high. And the fact that the Cubs have 2, none of them in their top 50, and then no one past those 2 tells you that we got some issues. You guys tell me what you think. We'll be keeping an eye on this. Thank you for hanging out. It's concerning to me, but maybe that's just because, 2 decades covering. I don't remember a time when the farm system was in a weaker spot as far as just the conception would go from other people. Does that mean that I don't believe in some of the players that are there? No. I just feel like right now This system needs a lot of help. All right, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thanks for hanging. We'll do it again tomorrow. And from the bottom of my heart,